everyone. How you guys doing today? Ready to rock and roll, pal? Ready for a brand new edition of the Hoots podcast. We're about to get ready to record this bad boy in just a couple of seconds. We're gonna do the Good Brothers Q&A session. We do it every single Thursday. The first part of the show, the Hoots podcast, is right here for you in living color. You can see my face. We can interact as this Q&A session goes on, and then you hear the rest of the fun stuff on the audio version of the Hoots podcast. Today is episode 246. That's right. We're 4 episodes away from episode 250. I'm looking forward to recording that. That'll be going down on March 25th. So all that being said, I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys are in good spirits. Hope the week's treating you well. And I'm ready for another fun day of recorded shows. It's been a long, the last 24 hours for me, but I'm ready to rock and roll. Another day to get better, another day to kick some ass, another day to record some good wrestling audio for you, pal. So that's what we're going to do here today on the Hoots podcast. So I got Elimination Chamber I got to review from this past Sunday. No major pay-per-views coming up as far as this weekend is concerned. I know we got the Castle Attack shows, but those are not necessarily pay-per-views. And then next week will be AEW Revolution. And we got another good What the Hell is Wrong with AEW segment this week. But all that being said, I'm just ready to rock and roll. You guys ready to do this? So those who are watching on YouTube, I'm also simulcasting this on Facebook. So right now, what you're getting is the first half of the Hoots podcast. And if you have questions about wrestling, about mental health, about relationships, about anything in general, hit me up. Hit me up in the chat box. You can ask me anything you want. Nothing's off limits. All I ask is to be respectful, and we can just go from there. So, take you behind the fourth wall, if you will, of the Hoots podcast. And all right, I'm done hearing myself talk. Let's get to your questions. Let's do this, all right? Here we go. Little rich right here. There you go. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 246 of the Hoots podcast. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week so far. As yours truly, the nefarious brother Adam. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Lopez Media. I am still suspended on Twitter, unfortunately. I don't know why. I'm an innocent person. I don't take any money for these artists when I do these guitar covers. I'm a good human being. I have a good, kind-hearted soul. I'm not trying to harm anybody's feelings. I'm sorry, DMCA, if that's your group name, that you're so butthurt over my fucking guitar covers. Please get over yourself and give me my damn account back. Folks, put it on Twitter right now. Hashtag free the Hoots podcast. Lift the suspension. This is like the first time in my life I've ever been suspended for something. And it's kind of ridiculous the reason why I got suspended on Twitter. I mean, there's people that put out weird messages to wrestlers about sending them mail and going to take a visit to their house and just being weird. And you know, it's okay for other people to share full scenes from movies and porn scenes. But God forbid I could go on Twitter and share a damn guitar cover for 45 seconds to a minute long. But no, we got to hit you with copyright strikes for that. YouTube, you're not any different. I'm not leaving you off the hook. I mean, hell, that's one of the reasons why I kind of split up the recording process with this, because you guys can hear my voice here, and then you get the audio version, and then that's all the fun stuff goes. So, anyways, please, hashtag free the Hoots podcast on Twitter. Lift the damn suspension already. So we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about this week. As always, we got to review Elimination Chamber that just went down this past Sunday at the WWE Thunderdome. I'll get into that. Also got our weekly main event segment, What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? We'll get to that as well. And also, don't forget the thoughts of Jericho with the one, the only, Brother Carter. Yes. Brother Carter does a great job with the podcast every single week, and I appreciate him being a big part of this show. It's crazy to think that we would get close to 250 episodes. I mentioned this when we did the 200th episode last year, that I never thought this show would get past 100. Nothing ceases to amaze me when it comes to this field, especially from good and bad. I mean, I started doing these type of wrestling talk shows when I was 19. So I started this in 2013, and it just continues to go on. This has been going on for 8 years now of just nonstop grinding, pushing out articles on ProWrestlingTranscripts.com. Make sure to bookmark that website right now if you could, please. I really appreciate that. And then this show as well. It's evolved in a lot of ways, but I think the charm of this podcast is that myself or the people that have been associated with this show have never changed. I'm very proud of that, because sometimes when you're like a content creator, like you could get so bogged down by what you do that you start losing yourself. And I noticed that a lot with a lot of people that like work in the entertainment business and just in general in life, and they're so focused on their career, they start losing on who they are. And it's not just like professionally. I mean, personally too, you could be so bogged down by one person that you're living with that person may not be helping you grow. And then in that process, you are starting to lose yourself. And I never want that to happen for anybody. So I always tell you folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. And also remember, be cautious of what you give your energy to. Because there's a lot of times where we just waste energy that we can't have back for people that just really don't care about us at the end of the day. So I always say, be cautious with the energy you give to people and how you go about your days. So a little tip of advice for you guys today. But we're getting into the Good Brothers Q&A session. We do this every single week on the Hoots podcast. I'm very appreciative of the Good Brothers like Chris Zaletta and Nate the Great and everybody else who sends questions each and every single week. The guys do a great job mixing it up and making a different feel every week. And they're a big part of why we do this segment, and it carves out the first half hour of the show. So, by the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the Jim Cornette clip you heard at the beginning, because I have some choice words for Mr. Meltzer regarding him saying that bookers learn from him. I'll be talking about that once I get into the AEW segment later on in the show. So all that being said, you see on the screen here on the YouTube version, you can follow me. That's where you can follow me on all my social media accounts. But if you're on audio, it's at Josh Lopez Media, at Joshy Lopez 94 on Instagram, at Josh Lopez Music, if you want to hear me do some good guitar covers. So all that being said, let's rock and roll, pal. Oh, I forgot one thing. Please subscribe to the podcast. Very important. Subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 4 or 5 star review and rating. It helps expand the reach of the show, and I want to know what you guys like about the podcast or stuff you like to see different. And I'm always open to constructive criticism. So reach out to your boy. Let me know what you think about the Hoots podcast. So anyways, we're going to get into the Good Brothers Q&A session right now. We're going to start out per ritual with the good brother Chris Zaletta at XTeenZaletta24X on Twitter. He says, what's up, Oos? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. I'll save some good ones for TBD. Oh, by the way, since I'm mentioning TBD, myself and brother Carter will be making the voyage to the land known as TBD Wrestling tonight. That's right. Your boy and brother Carter will be special guests of the podcast that's yet to be determined. Matt McCool and referee Tony S.'s show. Excited to shoot the shit with the guys tonight. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll pipe out reunion, whatever you want to call it, but it's always good to shoot the shit and hang out with good brothers. So I'm excited to record that later on tonight. And then when it comes to this show, it's just the charm about our shows and the type of content we do is that I want you guys to feel like I'm sitting next to you and we're talking about wrestling. I don't need to come on here and act like I'm a Sports Center anchor or pretend that I'm just like JD for New Yorker and I'm popping a blood vessel every 5 seconds just to act irrational and all this bullshit. Like, I'm a real human being. What you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get. I'm well and confident of who I am and the fact that I can think and speak for myself. And I know for a fact that me and you will probably disagree on a wrestling topic. And that's perfectly fine. I just think for those who are like first-time listeners of the podcast is that the important thing I want to be perfectly clear from me to you is that I want you guys to think for yourselves. Hell, don't take what I say for gospel. I mean, I'm always open to open dialogue, but I feel like there's too much of a sheep and herd mentality these days where somebody says one thing and then people flock onto it, and that's the gospel. Like, for me personally, I've always been that person where if I could find a flaw in a common narrative that I think is stupid, I'll point it out. Now, the difference with me, I'm more positive and laid back, and I just don't have my time to be morose and act like the world's ending every 5 seconds. I'm not a person that lives with a glass half empty. What's the phrase? Like, glass empty. I'm not that type of person. I'm not that negative Nelly glass empty person that's like, oh, fuck this, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but this if my mother had balls, she'd be my father. All right, you get my point. Like, I'm so tired of wrestling Twitter and their snarky ass attitude. Like, it's so ridiculous. One, get over yourself. Secondly, for the AEW sheep out there, go get fucking laid. And three, take a chill pill. This is pro wrestling. You guys act like you're responsible for what goes down on these wrestling shows, and that could be further from the truth. Like, know your role. All right, here's questions for Chris. I'm sorry, I needed to get that off my chest. Where would you like to see Mitch Trubisky end up? I was mentioning this a little bit yesterday on Twitter that I am a Mitch Trubisky fan. Here you go. Here's the first thing we can disagree on. Shoot your arrows at me. Do it right now. I am a fan of Mitch Trubisky. I think he got dealt a bad hand here in the city, not because of just one person. It's just the overall experience and everything that went into the drafting of Mr. Trubisky, the fact that him and his family got booed at the Bulls game the night after he got drafted to the team. It was just like, since the kid got drafted here, it's like people just waiting for him to fail. And I am a person that really like roots for people that deal with people that are jumping on them and maybe misunderstood, or people just talking shit just to talk shit. Like, I'll always defend that type of person. And I'm not fucking Chris Berman. I'm not Rich Eisen. I'm not Peter King. I'm not some football expert or anything like that. I played football in high school. Is Mitch Trubisky Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? No. But just some of the stuff that the things are just directed towards him, and the snarky stuff you get even from media outlets. Like, we're supposed to be objective and professional, yet you have outlets like Pro Football Focus and CBS Sports and all these different media outlets that try to send subtle insults at Mr. Trubisky. And I'm like, what do you get out of that? Like, subtweeting Mr. Trubisky with gifs of people doing this and that. Like, I don't care whether you think a player is good or not, but openly or subtly, like, or indirectly trying to insult a professional athlete, I just think it's kind of ridiculous, especially for a guy that's never stirs the pot, the guy that never goes is woe is me or anything like that, a guy that's well respected in the locker room, the guy that busts his ass, the guy who's had a good winning percentage since he's been a starting quarterback here in Chicago. And football conversations, just like wrestling, kind of intertwined the fact that their fan bases just don't apply any context to what happens in those realm of entertainment. They just don't. It's easy to say, oh, they should just drafted Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Can you 100% guarantee me that those guys would be in the same position that they are right now if they were drafted here with John Fox. Like, I just love how context always goes out the window when it comes to sports fans and wrestling fans. But what are you going to do? People are going to be people, right? So for me, I would love to see Mitch with the Patriots. I know that'll probably make you cringe and just feel downtrodden, Chris, and I'm sorry for that. But the troll in me, the guy that likes to see the world burn at times, I just love to see him with Belichick. But for me, I could probably see him being like a backup in San Francisco or possibly Pittsburgh or San Francisco, or maybe Mitch could be replacing Teddy Bridgewater if the Panthers decide to move on for him. I could see that possibly. It just depends. For me, as a Bears fan, I don't want Mitch Trubisky to come back, not because of blah 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 or obvious reasons. It's not a good match. And honestly, Matt Nagy has done more damage to Mitch Trubisky than Mitch Trubisky has done to the Bears. I mean, just look at that Philadelphia Eagles playoff game, and you tell me that Mitch Trubisky is the worst quarterback of all time or the worst quarterback in the league, and I'll tell you that you're completely full of shit. Like, look at the Bears. They're the one that picked up Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Those type of people that just do that all the time and they missed on this person. Oh, they missed on that person. Those are the people that have no life or probably not getting laid. So they need to find other outlets to make themselves feel better about themselves. They need to trash other athletes to receive some inner affirmation. And I just don't understand that. Okay, so judge me for being a Mitch Trubisky fan, and sorry that I don't think that he's the worst quarterback of all time. Sorry. It is what it is. Next question. Where does Velvet Sky rank in the Waterfall list? Wow. This early, I think this is the first time we had a Waterfall question on the Good Birds Q&A session. I like this. Well, Chris, for me, I think as far as Waterfall is concerned, by the way, speaking of water, as far as Waterfall is concerned, I think Velvet Sky had the best waterfall in the history of TNA outside of Brooke Tessmacher, but that's my opinion. Velvet Sky is a beautiful woman, just in every sense of the word. Personality-wise, obviously, Waterfall looks for sure. For me, as far as my all-time Waterfall list, it's hard for me because when it comes to Waterfall, I have to separate different brackets of generation, what company it is, et cetera, et cetera. It's very descriptive as far as the list of waterfalls. I mean, there's could be 10 of them if we could be honest here. But yeah, if there was a waterfall list for TNA performers and stuff, I would definitely say that Velvet Sky is on the top of that list. She's always been a beautiful woman. So that's a good question, though. I think it's the first time we got a waterfall question on here. Okay, next question here we got is favorite songs from the early 2000s. Oh, man, that's a good one. Well, Chris, I shared one of them earlier on Twitter. We talked about it. A song called Holiday Inn by Chingy and Snoop Dogg and Ludacris. I am a kid of the late 90s and early 2000s. I'll admit it here. I listened to a lot of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys when I was a young man. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm not embarrassed by it. It is what it is. So, yeah. So I checked out those. Songs are very hit and miss me. I as far as memories concerned, Rock the Boat by Aaliyah. Any song by Aaliyah during that time period was on point. I love the song Missing You by Case. This is another popular one from the early 2000s. one of my favorite albums of all time is Confessions by Usher. Is another one that really stands out to me over the years. Another one, let's see, like Twerk It Out from the 8701 album is another great song. I know Biggie had his Biggie Duets album, Nasty Girl, and all the stuff from that. That was really good as well. I mean, there's so many songs to choose from, my man. There really is. There really is. You can look at the DMX Prayers, Ashanti. I know you're a big fan of Ashanti, Chris. So there's a lot to choose from. My range of music has really changed a lot over the years since like playing guitar and stuff. So it can vary. One day I could be into Ashanti. The next day I could be pulling up a song like "I Miss My Friend" by Daryl Worley. By the way, the most beautiful love song I ever heard in my life, yet really sad at the same time, is "I Miss My Friend." If you guys have never heard that song, let alone watch the music video for that song, I totally recommend you guys go check it out. It's not like super country where it's like talking about beer and truck and anything. It's like really something sentimental. Like honestly, for me personally, like over the last couple of years or so, I really got into like country ballads and stuff like that. Like I'm not doing like the whole Jason Aldean sitting in my truck, rain on rain. Like I'm not into that part of country, but like I enjoy it for what it is. So that's a good question. All right, here we go. Which Bulls championship was the toughest one to get? Well, I think now since we have the proper context of what went down in the Last Dance, I would have to say the first one, just because what went into getting into that journey and what the Bulls as an organization went through, going through those growing pains and building that team for what it was. So I'd probably say the first one against the Lakers in 1991 is probably the best one and the toughest one that they had to win. I mean, you could say possibly the Phoenix Suns or Utah Jazz, but when it came to like the second leg of that three-peat, even I, as a young kid at the time, it was just like inevitable that Michael Jordan was just going to put a team away. And even when people try to bring up the fact that, LeBron's better than Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, first off, never lost in the NBA Finals. And Michael Jordan never allowed an NBA Finals go to a Game 7. So Michael Jordan's the GOAT, and it's not even close. Next question. What should be the next major 30 for 30 ESPN gives us? That's a great question. There's a lot to choose from. I don't know if I would pick one about wrestling. I mean, I know they did a Ric Flair one. I mean, can you really do a 30 for 30 on John Cena? Probably not. Can you do a 30 for 30 on CM Punk? No, he doesn't have that much of a mainstream appeal as much. He's my guy. So probably no. I look at it and it's like, as far as sports concerned, I mean, you can look at the Patriots dynasty like in full detail. I would love to see one done on the 2005 White Sox. A World Series team that people tend to forget, yet have one of the best pitching performances of all time. I don't know if you can make it a 30 for 30 just on that, but just an idea out there. Or I'm sure they would do one for the 2016 Cubs since they broke their curse, right? They broke their World Series curse. So I can see a Cubs getting one. I mean, I don't know what like documentary you could come up with where it's just gonna be like as big of a level the Last Dance. Like honestly, for me, I had so much like LeBron fatigue that even if his documentary comes out, like, I'm not rushing to go see a LeBron James documentary. It's not must see for me. Like I'm not gonna go watch Space Jam 2. So it's really hard to say, but there's a lot of different like topics that I probably think about later on, but that's a good question. I'd love you guys to tell me like what 30 for 30s would you guys like to see? We'll see. Next question. Should Drew be chasing the title until SummerSlam instead of getting it back at WrestleMania? Well, one thing I'll say right now, as far as where things are going, heading towards WrestleMania on Raw, is that I don't know what's going on, and I don't mind that to a certain extent. I mean, we all can make assumptions and make asses of ourselves. You know, the drill with that when it comes to assuming stuff. But as far as chasing or getting titles back or being the champion, that philosophy, Drew McIntyre has unfinished business right now to settle with Sheamus. Is there a scenario that possibly Drew McIntyre could get the title back and him and Sheamus could fight for the WWE title at WrestleMania? Sure. Can you make it a fatal four-way with Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, and The Miz? I could see that. I could see that. But I think right now, just try more money right now, just looking into WrestleMania. I have no idea what SummerSlam is going to look like, especially with the fact we don't know if fans will be back in the arenas by then. It's so hard to look down the road from that. But I think Drew McIntyre should just focus on Sheamus right now. Those guys will beat the living shit out of each other. And it's going to be a great rivalry and a great matches to transcribe. I'm really excited for it. So I don't see Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania as a champion or in a title match, but I could be wrong too. I kind of like the fact with Raw that we don't know what's going to be the WWE title match because, I mean, Bobby Lashley is getting a WWE title shot on Monday. So we'll see. That's the thing about episodic TV when it works. I'd rather let something play out than try to predict it and then make myself feel worse about it. You know, it takes the fun out of it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. All right, next question. Can this current Bobby Lashley run top his run at Impact? Well, I'm glad you asked that, Chris, because I wanted to mention this because there's certain people with podcasts that are like, oh my God, this person was in TNA. He'll never be allowed to do this and da. Well, I heard that Bobby Lashley from Impact would never show up on WWE because Vince McMahon wouldn't do it. He wouldn't see the potential of Bobby Lashley as a powerhouse dominant guy. Well, you look at the Hurt Business and they're just that kind of narrative goes the drain, doesn't it? The Hurt Business is one of the best things in wrestling right now, not just the WWE. I told you guys the Hurt Business is better than the Inner Circle. It's more interesting and better and compelling and more genuine and organic than the Bullet Club. The Hurt Business is the real deal. I love that group. What MVP's done is amazing. I think he's doing the best work of his career. Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander is tag team champions. What can you say that's not good about the Hurt Business? I mean, I keep hearing people, just add in Keith Lee and just do this, do that. It's easy to say that and try to fantasy book and remake old factions from the Attitude Era, but how is wrestling ever going to evolve if all of our fantasy booking ideas comes from concepts from the Attitude Era? That's my question for you guys. How can the business evolve? How can us as podcasters evolve if all our ideas about who could join factions, who could turn heel, and how we go to there is ideas that are from the Attitude Era? We all need to move on from the 90s. Not just us as fans, but the entire industry. We need to move on from the Monday Night Wars. The fact that people called NXT versus AEW the Wednesday Night Wars is fucking hilarious to me. So we have a ratings war with two shows that can't crack over 900,000 viewers consistently. Is it really a war? I mean, it's a war on Twitter, but does Twitter really matter at the end of the day? Maybe I'm blasphemous by asking that question, but in the grand scheme of pro wrestling, does Twitter really matter at the end of the day? Because as much as you see stuff on Twitter, and they'll tell you, message you, they'll subtweet you, they'll do this and that, they'll quote tweet you and tell you that WWE is dying and going out of business, and then you look at their quarterly revenue reports, and more times than not, it's like the people that go on these soapboxes about stuff like that are just completely full of shit. So that's the thing. Like, you look at Bobby Lashley with the run he's doing right now. He's doing the best work in his WWE career right now. Absolutely, I can see it topping what he did in Impact. And I can definitely see Bobby Lashley becoming the WWE champion sometime here in 2021. It's just a matter of when. Even if he doesn't win on Monday, it's not going to be the end of the world for him. I'm sure he'll find a way to get his title one way or another. But like, you compare what he did with Impact with American Top Team, as much as I like Dan Lambert to a certain extent, MVP just blows Dan Lambert out the window when it comes to talking on the mic. So I'm all in for the Hurt Business. Give me the T-shirt. Let me be an advocate for the Hurt Business as well. So, good questions, Chris. Thank you so much, brother. Next questions we're going to get to here is from, let's see. Oh, yes, the Good Brothers. Nate the Great. Make sure to follow Nate on Twitter at Psycho Nagiri. Nate has a batch of questions here, and we're going to read them out to you guys right now. With so many people looming around the NXT title, who should Finn face next for it? Well, I think there's some unfinished business and some debts that need to be collected. So I say Killer Cross should be the next person to go after Finn Balor. I know there's been a lot of emphasis with the stuff with him mingling around with the Undisputed Era, but Cross needs to get his title shot back, and that'd be my choice. How big will your snub be if Bobby wins on Monday? Well, it's nothing like I'm going to be so happy where I'm laughing at The Miz or anything like that, because I'm a big fan of The Miz, and I respect what he does. I think he's probably the most underrated professional wrestler in the last 15 years of what he does in the ring. Like, so many people are so bogged down by the fucking Dave Meltzer way and Brian Alvarez's way of thinking of how a wrestler is supposed to be booked and how a wrestler is supposed to look, how a wrestler is supposed to be this. That's the thing. Stop referencing the fucking Observer and Dirt Sheets and all these people on basing your opinions on what they think. Their opinion doesn't matter. They don't. This is the same jacket. I'm not doing this right now. I'm saving it for the AEW segment, okay? But, like, you hear Brian Alvarez going on soapboxes about how The Miz sucks, and go fuck yourself, dude. You're like the shittiest podcaster I ever heard in my life. Please. But to go back to this question, like, I'll be happy for Bobby, obviously. I'm sure there'll be some people on Twitter. Oh my God, they're playing hot potato with the WWE title before WrestleMania. Oh my God, see, this is another example of Vince's bad booking. I told you about Vince's bad booking. Tony Khan wouldn't do this. Tony Khan wouldn't do that. Right. Do you think Apollo could benefit from turning full heel and joining Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? Do I think he could benefit from turning fully heel? Yes. Do I think he needs to join Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? No, I do not. Where do you see Derek Carr landing? I think Derek Carr will be with the Oakland Raiders. Piggyback to the question that Chris asked earlier about Mitch, that's another place I can see Mitch going, because I know John Gruden loves quarterbacks. So if he could bring in Nate Peterman, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to bring in Mitch Trubisky. So don't be surprised if Mitch goes to Las Vegas. Where do you see this retribution angle going? Would they really split already? Well, that's the thing. You have so many people are every week they're like, "Oh, just end the group already." This is stupid. And then they do it, and then it's like, oh, you're giving up on them already? Kind of like a lose-lose situation there. Um, I don't know. I don't like. I've really been liking like the promos that Ali's been doing, as far as like transcribing matches are concerned. The matches that the New Day have had with Retribution, I've enjoyed them. From jotting them down, I think like they've been like well executed as far as the match concerned. Dijak and Mace, they do a great job in the ring. They're good performers, but something's got to give. We got to get into like this Kofi and Ali thing, and I think the cool thing about WrestleMania being a 2-night event this year is the fact that you could do a Kofi Kingston Ali grudge match. Maybe they want to do that at Fastlane. I have no idea, but do I think they need to split them up right now? I don't. But something's got to get. There has to be like a next level of Retribution and why they're continuing on. And it has to be more than just Ali feeling bad about missing out on WrestleMania 35. So that's a good question, though. All right, here we go. Take away the card because it stinks. How great of a move was it to put Revolution on a Sunday? Now more people like me will probably watch it. I think that's true to a certain extent, but also at the same time, I'll raise you this. I don't believe that any AEW pay-per-view belongs on a Sunday night. Sunday night pay-per-views belong on professional quality shows. Not outlaw fucking flea market-esque wrestling shows. Like, just because they're having an exploding barbed wire death match on a Sunday night doesn't get me more pumped up for Revolution. We'll get into that card later on because it sucks. you made a great point there. The card does stink. It's kind of double-edged. I guess for people that are kind of busy, like on a Saturday or a Friday night, this is obviously for them to like sit back and end their week watching that pay-per-view. But still, it doesn't matter if AEW pay-per-view is on a Monday, a Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. The show's going to suck. It just is what it is. Should more NXT superstars go up? It's getting awfully crowded down there. It is getting crowded down there. By the way, shout out to the whole new class of wrestlers that are got signed to the Performance Center. I'm really happy for Ty Valkyrie. Speaking about good Waterfall, she's very fantastic in the ring, and I'm very happy for her that she's in WWE now. Blake Christian, popular guy from New Japan. I've seen stuff of him on Impact as well. Really cool to see that. I know a popular name in our circles is Christian Casanova from the New England area, so I'm excited to cover his work for the first time. Eli Drake, now known as L.A. Knight, is a good addition. I put this out on Twitter last night that I think L.A. Knight's could be like a nice blend into NXT as far as like a character is concerned. Like you're kind of seeing different layers now with the NXT brand, which I kind of appreciate because when like NXT was first like getting hot and getting all that buzz, all they were doing was Ring of Honor wrestling, if we're being honest. That's what it was. You're seeing the Ring of Honor style of wrestling, but because you never saw that from WWE, it came off as cool. That was like the new thing. Now you watch NXT and they're trying to add different layers to their characters than just, oh, this guy's just a great wrestler. Oh, this lady's just a good worker. You're having more layers to it. That's why I kind of laugh at people. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe what they did to Johnny Gargano. Like, why is he a heel? He's like the perfect baby face. And like, I like the way Johnny Gargano makes me laugh a little bit. Like, like we need to have more reasons to invest into professional wrestlers than what they do in the ring. Trust me, this has also come from the guy that prefers wrestling more than the characters and storylines. But even then, to a certain extent, we need to find a way to be entertained. And it's cool that NXT is embracing that indie style of wrestling and having longer matches. But what's really going to make NXT established as a brand is who these characters are and why we should care about them. So it's very tricky. Like, who are you going to put in this place? Like, I think Tommaso Ciampa is ran his course in NXT. Same thing goes with Io Shirai. I can see Cameron Grimes going down, going up to Raw or SmackDown soon. Going to the moon, pal. That guy's a trip, man. But the Undisputed Era, obviously, is another entity that could be going up to Raw or SmackDown soon. Like, there is getting crowded because now they're bringing in other people in from the UK version of NXT, and we got to balance it out. I do appreciate they try to get as much people as they do in that 2-hour show, but even then, that's kind of hard to do. So I'm curious, like, who would you like to see from NXT go up to Raw or SmackDown? Do you think Dexter Loomis is championship material? Do I think he's a world champion material guy? I don't, as far as his character is concerned. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not a Dexter Loomis fan, but I don't see Dexter Loomis like main eventing WrestleMania anytime soon, unless like wrestling fans get into this weird like Dexter craze or phase where they enjoy those type of characters. It's just how it all ends up with the presentation, right? So, I like what he does. I can definitely see Loomis be like an NXT North American champion, but I don't see him as like a world champion or main event guy, but that's just my opinion. Who are your favorite wrestlers right now? That's a good question. I'll do it in men and women, so I'm fair, right? Start with the ladies. Number one, as far as like my favorite female wrestlers in the world right now, is Kaylee Ray, Charlotte, Sasha Banks. I can't say Becky because she's out in action right now, so I can't add her to that list. Shayna Baszler at 4, and then 5 will be. I'd probably say Io Shirai or Dakota Kai, somewhere around there. So those are the 5 for the ladies, and then when it comes to like the dudes. My favorite wrestlers right now, Kevin Owens. I'll do it for each company. So WWE, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, and fuck, who else? Was it? Why is this giving my head? Randy Orton. There you go. So those are 5 for WWE. NXT. Finn Balor, Killer Cross, Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, and Santos Escobar, yes. And then New Japan, I'll go with Ishii, Tanahashi, number 2. Big fan of the Ace. Naito at 3. Ibushi at 4, and Shingo Takagi at 5. And then you go into MLW, you got, for me, my favorite person in MLW as far as like men are concerned is Alexander Hammerstone, Jacob Fatu 2nd, Leo Rush 3, 4. Can I put Alicia 2 on the list? She's not a wrestler, but she's fucking awesome. So 4 there, and then 5 probably be TJP, I guess. And then Impact. My favorite person in Impact is Eddie Edwards. Rich Swann comes in at number 2. Moose at 3, 4. It's definitely not Brian Myers. He could go the fuck home and stay home as far as I'm concerned. Number 4, Josh Alexander. And then number 5 is Ace Austin. So those are my favorite wrestlers right now. So I gave you a bunch of different options to choose from. All right, last question for the Q&A session this week. What gets you out of bed every morning? Well, it's stuff like this. It's the grind. It's the grind of wake up morning doing New Japan shows like I did this morning. It's the grind of trying to get better every week as far as being a transcriber or just a general professional broadcaster as a whole. What gets me out of the bed in the morning is the people that matter the most to me. Those people know who they are. And what gets me out of bed every morning is just knowing that like I feel like I'm on the right track right now in my life, that like I'm focused on the right things and I'm doing what I need to do. Like I'm staying on my grind, I'm staying on my purpose, I'm valuing my time, I'm not allowing people to waste my time. I don't have any like major distractions going on right now. No drama. I've never really been a person that's delved into drama or anything like that, but I really like to stay like true to myself and just be like low key with that type of stuff. But like in general, for me, I just like waking up in the morning knowing that I have another day. Like we're all grateful. Nothing's guaranteed. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, right? And I wake up every morning knowing that I'm blessed for God. I have an opportunity to make somebody's day better, whether it's making an article or crack a couple jokes on Twitter or coming on here and record a podcast or play some music. I always try to learn something new every day. So like every time I wake up in the morning, what keeps me motivated is knowing that I'm not where I want to be right now in my life as far as like professionally is concerned, but personally, like I feel like I'm in a really good place in that like, this move to having my own place now is like really like helped re-energize me in a lot of ways. And it's like give me a lot more purpose is to just take this to the next level and do more and get more out of it. And I'm really happy right now. So what gets me out of the bed every morning is that I'm excited now. Like when I was in high school and I was dealing with this stuff at home or whatever during that dark period in my life, I was not happy to wake up every morning. I just wasn't in a good place mentally during that time period. So it's different. It's interesting when like you're on your purpose and you know what you want and you have goals that you strive to. And we're all dealing with a pandemic and we're still trying to figure out when we can get back to our normal lives. I don't know the next time I'm going to have an opportunity at a job interview for a local radio station here, but I'm just taking things one day at a time, and that's very important. I think a lot of people should do that too. Take every day as one day at a time, and just don't lose yourself in that process as well. So I want to thank Nate and Chris for saying another great batch of questions this week. You guys were awesome as always. You can follow Chris on Twitter, by the way, at xteens1124x. And Nate is on Twitter at Psycho Nagiri. So great Q&A session this week as always. I appreciate the support, guys. And when we come back, I'll be recapping what went down in the Elimination Chamber and what happened this week in WWE. And, folks, find your purpose. Stay on your grind. Smile. Have a reason to wake up every day and get better. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your independence like I am now, and live your life, man. I love you guys. This is the Q&A session. We'll be right back right here on the Who's Podcast. So yes, sir.